All good. Everyone hears themselves.
It's a bit low, is it? Yep. No, it's good. These are good. These are good headphones.
Yeah. The away rooms.
Yeah, we should be in the.
Aren't they the same as the normal ones?
The headphones.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Nah.
but we've got the white shorts on. That's the only.
I feel like these are better. You can hear yourself.
Yeah. I had this conversation with Nick Martin. We only wore white shorts like 3
Oh, it's going to be
This is
a
a
headphones conversation.
Headphones conversation in the away rooms.
The
doing your
bow
podcast.
sky.
No, we only wore like white shorts 3 times this year, but we love wearing white shorts. Like there's something
Right.
about wearing white shorts that I really like.
What is that? What is that? Do you reckon?
I don't know, but I'm glad someone else was on the same page. So yeah,
Yeah. It's a really solid start to our show.
We sometimes talk about what kit we like wearing,
Yeah.
and a few people, the common consensus is like the navy blue top with the white shorts. We like that combo.
But how often are you wearing? Because it feels like a clash. It feels like you're clashing with yourselves.
well with Essendon and Harry's probably the same. Dark blue, dark black. You normally wear your home shorts most times. So it's a rarity to wear white shorts, and we really enjoy it when we do. It makes it look more tanned. I don't know, something about it.
And this is why we are winning premierships. We'll get to that in a second.
right.
Just elite content out of the gate. But this or that?
Yeah. Yep.
Why do you sound surprised about that?
No, I'm not surprised.
This or that.
You sound so surprised.
Oh,
about
yep,
that.
yep.
Oh, yeah. Right.
I said yep.
Done it for
No.
I wasn't sure if we
30
were going
weeks,
straight
right?
in that or there was another hook or something.
When have we not done that?
You're
Anyway.
wrong-footed there.
Usually there's some
Just
type
own
of
it.
hook
Move
or
on.
some silly thing.
She's not happy.
No, sorry.
Grinch.
This week, again, pronunciation not amazing, but I'm going to say Missa, M-I, but it's spelled M-Y, sorry, M-H-Y-S-A. M-H-Y-S-A.
Yep.
Pronounced Missa.
Yeah.
And is it the episode name of the season 3 finale in Game of Thrones, the TV show?
Oh, jeez.
Or a South African DJ whose song went viral on TikTok over lockdown? I think I know which one it is, but
Well,
Okay.
I haven't seen Game of Thrones, so
I haven't seen all of it. All right, I'm locking in Game of Thrones.
I'm going to go with the song.
DJ.
yet again, Rollo is right. Love
Flags.
Sounds like a song.
Just keep winning flags.
It's your week. It's your month, mate.
It's my birthday in 3 days.
Is it?
Yeah. Yeah, prelim night.
Happy birthday. Oh,
Thank you, mate.
Really?
Yeah, it's
Wow.
a huge week.
is that Brisbane Prelim?
Brisbane prelim, yeah.
We'll get to that a bit later, but yeah, jeez.
But speaking of winning, do we have the montage, MJ?
Yeah, are we on?
Yes.
Hold it up, mate.
The Holy Grail.
Still feel like it goes down.
Enrique, I'm not sure.
This is it.
Yeah, we're back. Oh, so for the uninitiated,
Just, I reckon the RFI for MJ for the winners montage moving forward is it really drops with
Drop
the,
Enrique,
Yeah,
yeah.
Enrique comes out, I reckon.
yeah, but he finds a way out.
Yeah.
For the uninitiated, the Australian Football Media Awards, the AFMAs, were held last night, and Ben came along. So how did that happen? Why weren't you there, Harry?
I was busy, mate.
Yeah, stuff
Well,
on.
I was thinking about it on the drive home that the 4 most important people were there. So obviously myself, Rollo, MJ, and Heath. So
Yeah, it's fair.
yeah, I was happy with that.
Yeah, and we were nominated. Can I just see? Obviously,
So, well, you're probably best to
we're
Yeah, you are.
spoiling it.
give the context of this because
Yeah.
you're in the media a bit more.
So and I've been to a few of these before, and it's a really good night. And so the who's who of the Australian
Yeah.
football media is there. And Kane Corns had a very good night. He won the Alf Brown, which is the kind of the big one.
Yeah,
and
is that the
so
Brownlow?
yeah, it's like the media Brownlow.
Yeah.
Very deserving. He had a great year. Kane Corns works very hard. And Listener, we're up for 2 big awards, both in the podcasting space. One was for news and analysis, football analysis, and Footy Talk got up. So if you're on the Listener app, check out Footy Talk if you haven't. It's a really good footy podcast. And then
Yep.
we were nominated for Best Podcast Football Entertainment, and we've bloody gone and won it.
Yeah,
We've won the coveted trophy. We've got it here on the desk.
coveted.
So,
Oh, good. That's amazing.
so just, I guess, a thank you to everyone who listens, and thank you to the
Yeah.
AFMAs for nominating us.
We're probably a little bit naive, Ben and I, to that the media awards and what
Yeah.
means what. But,
But it
from all reports,
sounded
it's
like a really big
it's
deal. Like
it's a really good.
it was a really fun night, but you know, the way a lot of people accepted their awards, it was, you know, sort of pretty serious, and they were really grateful for it. So
For sure.
it was actually, I probably underestimated the night a little bit. So
Yeah.
it was something we're pretty proud of. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, massive thank you to everyone that listens and involves in the show and makes it what it is. And obviously it's only we're second year in, so we're still learning a bit. But to be recognised in that space is really cool. And
Really cool.
We've always said these are the time of the year where you want to be winning trophies, Will.
Exactly.
So
Silverware in
it's a bit
September.
smaller and a little bit different to
Yeah.
what we were hoping for, but it's a trophy nonetheless. So
That's right.
It's a fraction of the size of the cup
yeah,
that you wanted.
It still is pretty impressive. Like,
No, it's awesome.
the dead ringer.
that's ours to keep forever.
It's ours.
It's ours.
We need to do
well,
something. We should do something cool with it, like
I was going to say last night for today, put the Essendon ribbons
Oh,
on
yeah,
one
yeah.
side and Carlton on the other
That's
side,
fun.
but
Yeah.
we missed that boat.
Nah, man. That's the next year one.
yeah.
But
plenty to come,
it was
yeah.
funny. The Richmond Football Club won for best club content.
Right.
And a representative from Richmond came up and he's just like, yeah, it's nice to come and claim a win at Marvel, which I thought was a bit of fun.
He also said something along the lines of, we did a lot of work without Dusty's involvement.
Oh, yeah,
was-
that's right. Yeah, celebrating Dusty's 300th without any involvement from Dustin Martin was a difficult job. And then Ben went up to accept our award. We've got audio of his speech if you want to hear it
That's
here.
really good.
We'll mention in the green room, GWS Giants. And the winner, the Ben and Harry
Whoa. Who was announcing that?
I think I go a bit early here.
Got a clap.
Oh, look at it clap.
Harry and I, thanks to Heath, MJ, and Rollo for putting up with us. It's been lots of fun. So we started about 2 years ago, and we both really enjoyed the process and a bit of a switch off outside of football. So to Listener and everything they've done for us, we really appreciate it. And have a good night. Thanks, guys.
Notable exception from the thank yous.
Yeah.
I said on behalf of Harry and I.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, you could have.
Could have thanked you.
Yeah.
Well, you should have been
Left
there.
out a
You
big
should have
part.
been there. It's a very good point.
So, run us through what you were thinking. So we were trying to be funny at the start there.
No.
'Cause the way I read that, so I was like,
Sort of.
tried to be funny, didn't land. Didn't
Landed a
try to
little
be
bit.
funny, landed, and then petered out. That was my take on it. That was the first time I've heard it. So
Well, we were before.
because everyone's been like, "Oh, your speech landed amazing, really funny."
It genuinely got the biggest
Had
laugh
to
of the
be
night.
there.
No one else got claps.
You had to be there. Sort of
Yeah.
thing. So before we got up on stage, we were sort of thinking you have to say something sort of funny because it was a bit of a reading the room. It was a bit of a funny type, environment, atmosphere.
Yeah.
So
Sam McClure was there, you know.
yeah,
your mate. So we thought I'll say something about silverware. And I was nervous, man. I was a little
Were
bit
you?
edgy. Yeah, absolutely. Because we were waiting so long to get the award.
Yeah.
It was 90 minutes into a 2-hour event, so we're like towards the end of it, and everyone had spoken really well. Like obviously
Yeah.
they do it for a job, but it was impressive to hear how well they spoke.
Mm.
So I was a little bit edgy, but I walked up there and I tried to drop the. It's nice to get my hands on some silverware.
Yeah.
you probably went a bit early with that.
Maybe a bit early, but
No, you're fine.
and then I honestly just like wanted to save the confusion, so I said, "Oh, it's Ben, by the way," like just so innocently. And I got the biggest laugh of the
Just
night.
erupted.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I had all these things in my mind, but you only had like 25, 30 seconds on like a countdown clock, so I was a bit aware of that as well.
Yeah.
So
No, you did well.
No, it was all right. It was a really good night actually, and it was pretty cool to be around so many influential people in our game, from media personalities to commentators to club representatives. It was really
Yeah.
cool. So some legends of the game were there, and to be around them was
it was
pretty
great.
Cool, so
We were suggesting he could go up and say he was Harry and then compliment all the journalists who nailed the story about you heading to Melbourne.
Yeah, it would have been funny. You
Just
should have done
say-
something like
because
that.
at the start of the night they were like everything's off the cusp, like off record,
Yeah,
say
yeah.
what you want, because it's obviously pretty rare to have all different broadcasters and competitors in the same
All in
room.
the same
so
room, yeah.
it was a bit of a free for all, but we didn't quite go down that path, thankfully.
Yeah, he could have lent,
probably
lent,
could.
in-
Yeah,
lent
he-
into the humour a bit more, but he didn't have time.
Yeah.
And then probably the highlight of my night was, I think the very next award
Oh.
was for photography. And so Michael Klein, who's just one of the best
Yeah, the guru.
photographers in the game, he's won for a shot of Dustin Martin, who was coming off after that last game, and he's got tears in his eyes. A great
Oh,
shot.
nice. Yeah.
And then there was the action shot, and then Michael Klein's won again. And it was for Jamie Elliott's mark on Anzac Day, and MJ and I kind of been, get up, mate.
Should have gone up.
Go accept it.
It felt like that photo was on there for about 45 seconds.
just wouldn't go
It
off.
wouldn't go off.
Should have walked up and accepted that. So
Just standing behind him.
Bloody hell.
John
like a
Award.
statue.
There was also so many little digs at Essendon across the night. That was getting annoying, by the way. Well,
Oh, but good night.
No, it
and
was.
As we said, thanks to the
Glad we
judges.
went.
Yeah, well done. Great award
Thanks
to
to
win.
everyone who listens.
Yeah.
Footy chat. Okay, so we have a big weekend of preliminary finals and no Melbourne clubs involved, which is curious. Of course, Geelong will be playing their home game at the MCG. But
No Melbourne club's been Geelong.
Right.
Well, they're not
I
Melbourne.
mean Victorian.
Victorian. Yeah. I know what you mean.
No, they're not a Melbourne club. They're
They're a Victorian
down the
team.
road. They're a
Everyone will
Victorian
jump
team.
on, but
Yeah.
well,
Right.
let's take a step back. How was your trip to Sydney? Obviously, very exciting.
God.
by then, yeah.
So what happened? I didn't watch 1 minute of that game.
Did you not?
No.
You should watch the mini. It's just extraordinary. It's one of the most crazy finals of all time, I reckon. Just
So Giants are up by heaps, right?
44.
What
Midway,
stage?
late in the third.
Really?
18 minutes into the third.
Wow.
And then, the Lions, similar to the Carlton game, they had about a 20-minute window where they kicked about 10 goals. And it just happened to be in the back half of the game rather than the front half. So just one of the more extraordinary. And then Joe Danaher just nailing two
Yeah, I did see that.
clutch
Yeah.
goals. One of the hardest spots
We
in
were
the
both
ground.
out for dinner up in Noosa, and we caught the last 5 or 6 minutes, and
Yeah.
it was clutch. Like wasn't it deliberate? And you could probably question him for wanting to go over and take it for a left footer, but I saw something. He's so accurate from that spot compared to
83% since 2021, I think I saw.
So you look at that and think, well, at least he's owning the moment and
Yeah.
knows what he's capable of. So
Do you have a weird spot on the ground? I mean, I should be talking Harry. that you,
well, I've got
Those 2 shots you've ever had. Do you have a spot you really like?
yeah, off hands, dribbling it through
on top of the goal square.
top of the goal square. Is there a spot that, I mean, I don't want to jinx you for future shots, but is there somewhere where you're just like, I actually don't mind kicking it from here?
Oh, you'd have with the analytics these days. It would be like your goal kicking map where you'd be really
Yeah,
good from spots. I can get back to you for the actual pure number.
I
point
would
of view,
love
but
to see it. Yeah.
Yeah, I can try and get it for you. But I think there's a spot on the other side for left footer because the way my kick goes a little bit, it goes a little bit right to left. So
Yeah.
being on the other, like a favourable left foot side, and you can kind of just say 40 plus out.
Mm.
And it's a nice look for my kick because you can kind of just sit it up and it always fades back.
Yeah.
But everyone's got little spots that they statistically like, I guess.
Yeah. You just
Yeah.
feel a bit more comfy.
Yeah.
Because obviously for Joe, it was that spot there. We'll get to that game, the Saturday Twilight game, in a second because, that was my favourite footy experience I think I've ever had.
Oh, really?
It
Yeah.
was absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah.
But Sydney Port. So this one is extremely captivating. We've got the Swans, who, of course, got past the Giants to earn that home prelim, and then Port Adelaide. We haven't really spoken about the Jack Ginnivan moment, which I feel like has been done to death, but your perspective is different being two current players. First of all, would you have been annoyed if a teammate had done what Jack Ginnivan did, just posting a comment kind of dismissing your upcoming opposition?
I just don't think we've really seen it before, have we? Like that?
No.
It's so rare in our game. So I think there's an element of surprise and shock and well, that's something you don't really see every day. But we were saying off air last night that like you just don't know what response that gives the opposition. That might give them an extra 1%, 2% of motivation, and
Yeah. I reckon.
I don't know.
I'm not sure. I don't want to quote Sam Mitchell here, but I think he said something along the lines of, and I agree with, like that doesn't give any extra motivation in terms of you going into a semi-final. I reckon it's more just like if something like that happens, and like it was pretty innocent, pretty like just jovial. I don't know Jack personally, but I think they've got that kind of happy-go-lucky personality a little bit. It's more just like that becomes a headline when, so like Sam Mitchell has to be asked about that in his press conference. They'll talk about it post-game, they'll talk about it during the game. So it's like, is that another added layer of like a headline? Is that something you want? Yeah, like is it just something you want hanging around? Even though like the actual comment, like there's not, I don't think there's much in that at all. It's just whenever something like that happens, the kind of little storm that's created off the back of it, like is that something you need going into a semi? Like I don't know, they might like that at Hawthorn. They might be like, well, this gives us a bit of, we're on edge a bit more, and who knows? But
but then you hear what was said from the Port camp, and they said it generally did give them a bit of a spark.
Yeah.
But that's a bit like, again, can't speak for Port, but I'm sure heading to a semi-final with all the things at play, like one like comment on Instagram shouldn't be the difference between motivation or not
Yeah.
going into a semi-final.
Yeah. Only they would know, right? But
Yeah.
But then maybe that time of year you do need like a little. It's like what Michael Jordan used to always say. Like,
Yeah.
you should create these little headlines.
I took it personal.
Yeah.
yeah.
So who knows?
How? Because you've both played under. How many coaches have you both played under? A minimum
Oh,
of
a lot.
3 or so.
3.
6.
Yeah, you've actually played under way more.
Yeah.
How many of them do you reckon would have used it? Would have had it on the whiteboard? You know that expression. Would it have been brought up by most coaches you played under? You reckon? Because from the outside, it feels like it's such a small thing. Surely you're worrying about bigger things, but
Yeah.
coaches have to come up with a new message every single week. Do you reckon it's?
I don't reckon. Personally, I don't think we would have had anything circled on the whiteboard or anything like that. It's probably more just within the playing group. Might be like, oh, did you see that?
Yeah.
And then I think that's all it would have been. But again, you can't speak for every club and what they do in terms of their motivation pre-game and how they theme up a message and stuff. But
Yeah. And then, of course, the aftermath with Ken. I mean, you don't have to comment on that, but
pretty
I
strange.
found it pretty funny.
Yeah.
I thought it was great. I think more theatre, the better.
did you, which part of it did you like? Do you reckon?
I just like the idea that the coach. It feels a bit beneath a coach going up to a player. It feels like something a player was probably best suited to do on the field. But Ken's so passionate. I mean, obviously the AFL didn't like it, fined him 20 grand, but. Yeah, I don't know.
There's so many different routes
for a coach.
There's so many different routes you can go down. Like you could back both sides, I reckon, in terms of the right and wrong. But it's probably something we don't see all that often at all.
Yeah,
you know, I can't remember seeing that type of encounter before. So,
I'm always on the train of like whatever happened, like when between the whistles or between the sirens, like it's all very competitive, like you're tooth and nail trying to win.
Yep.
But then once the siren's gone, like I always love seeing like humility and respect.
True.
And like sportsmanship
hands,
post game.
Yeah.
That's all I reckon. But also I thought Sam Mitchell spoke exceptionally well.
Yeah, he did
after it. So who knows? I haven't followed much of it, and we're probably not in place to comment. But I always like just the humility and sportsmanship post game.
For sure. Yeah,
Yep.
it's a very Australian thing too. So like you said, when you see things like this, it feels unusual in our game. So that sets up Sydney and Port Adelaide. So Sydney have not beaten Port Adelaide since 2016.
Is that right?
Yeah, I think it's 8 straight
And they got smacked
losses.
not
And
long
they
ago.
beat them by 112 points about 8 weeks ago.
yeah, true.
Yet Sydney go into this as heavy favourites.
So I reckon this is just. I've been thinking this for a week or two. I reckon it's just set up for Port Brisbane in a granny.
20-year-on rematch.
Yeah, I just have a bit of a feeling.
So you think you're giving Port a genuine shot to knock off
I thought Port would win. I called that they'd beat Hawthorn.
against Hawthorn? Yeah.
Who knows? Like, and I reckon Brisbane. It's like the way they've come out of that. It's nearly like the shackles are off. It's a bit of a free hit again.
Yeah.
And do they play well against Geelong?
They haven't beaten Geelong down in Melbourne for
Since 2004.
20
Oh, there
years.
you go. So maybe not.
Yeah. And have played. It'll be the 4th prelim between Geelong and Brisbane, and Brisbane haven't beaten them since that 2004 game. So
Okay.
they have a record, but I mean,
Records don't mean much this season.
well,
almost.
that's what I was going to ask. Do you take any baggage into a game like this if you have hoodoos or
No, I reckon it's just
clean slate?
Clean slate. Yeah, it's just open. Yeah, especially because like prelims again only played in one, but and finals in general, they're just made of moments. It's like you can't in those little moments that they define the game. So like whether you hadn't won since 2004 or whatever, like you're not thinking that in that stage.
Exactly,
It's all
yeah.
just like execution of the moment. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
it's
I
gonna be
agree.
good. Yeah, it'd be good to watch.
What grand final are you picking, Ben? If Harry's going Brisbane Port, you're going the 2 underdogs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Sydney Geelong. I think you have to give the advantage to the team with the week off. I don't think there's a bad game or a bad scenario in terms
True.
of what outcome lands on grand final day, but I think there's a bit of recent history between the two teams a couple of years ago. So, I reckon that's my pick, Sydney Geelong. But I like the Brisbane story. I think that's sort of captivating everyone at the moment. So,
Yeah.
I reckon if Brisbane get there, they win it.
Do you think, so 2 more questions. Do you think, so Brisbane having that monumental comeback, players are borderline crying after it. Fagan's,
said it's the best win
they're all saying the
ever.
best win they've ever been part of. Obviously a huge comeback. Do you think there is such thing as spending all your emotional tickets in a game and then having to back up is tough? Is that a thing that you found?
I think that's just sport, isn't it? You don't want to leave anything to chance, or you want to empty the tank as much as possible. So I think the beauty about our game is you roll on to next week and it's the unknown again. You start again, but that's the beauty of it. You don't know what's going to happen, next week or even at the end of the game. So I think I'm sure they're exhausted, but again, that's what you sign up for, and that's what you get with playing finals. Is Harry would know, but like obviously the emotional toll it takes is profound, but the extra motivation you're almost there. I'm sure you can't underestimate that as well.
Yeah.
It's a good question though.
Yeah, I reckon there's no doubt would have been like late in that third when they're 50 points down. It's like, oh gee, is our season done here?
Yeah.
So then you live in that space for like your mind might flicker to there a little bit, but then to get the game back on your terms and win, it's like it'd be nearly a sense of like, oh, we've just escaped like loss there, and like how good everyone's buzzing. So I reckon they nearly would ride that momentum wave. I reckon there's two ways to see it, but they might be. You're right. They might be really a bit drained, and if Geelong come out swinging and pressure's really good early and just make it a bit of a dogfight, then that might be tougher for Brisbane to adjust. But yeah, I think they're playing some good footy and they got their momentum rolling in.
But also, like mentally, knowing you've come back from 45 points down in a final, that's pretty significant. So it makes sense as to why they're saying it's the best we've never been a part of, because it's you almost just don't see that these days.
For sure.
It's incredible.
And then the other one is Geelong. So they won that qualifying final on a Thursday night against Port Adelaide. And it now means that with the Saturday prelim, they have played one game in 26 days, which is the longest break in the history of the game between finals. So do you think that would have a negative impact, or is resting bodies at this time of year always just going to be a benefit?
I think like there's no, especially because finals in general are tough, contested, moments-based footy. The team that's had, it's not like, you go in and you have to be absolutely like executing your skill perfectly to win the game. Like it's more of that kind of like combative contest defense games. I think having time to freshen up and get some good training in, you always got niggles that time of year, so those to be able to be resolved a bit. I reckon Geelong no doubt have the advantage going in. Yeah,
I'd agree. I mean, I think that's again all part and parcel of it. I mean, you don't really decide when your game is. So what is it, 26 days? That's just part of being in the final series. So
and those boys,
they're a bit older, obviously, as a group. So I'm sure they've appreciated a little bit of downtime. And I think once you get, I'm sure, say Monday of this week, game week, it'll feel like a normal week again.
True.
So I think
they'll, as we said, a little bit like, do you reckon Brisbane might be a bit fatigued or energy levels? But Geelong won't have that. They'll be going like cut cats on Saturday. Like they'll be fresh. They'll be So be really good to see.
It's intriguing. Two very interesting games.
Strange slot, 5:15.
It's normally like that, isn't it? If
Just
a travelling team
back for
you guys
Saturday night.
you guys
I think we
played
were the same last year.
What was that? It felt about 4 or 5 from memory.
It's just so they can charter a flight back. That
yeah,
night.
correct.
Yeah. I mean, it just makes sense.
Yeah.
Particularly given it's on a Saturday.
Yeah.
Jackie from Yarraville had a question.
Hi, Ben and Harry. It's Jackie from Yarraville. My question is there a strict training regime that you have to abide by during your off-season? And is that set by the club, or is it more of a personal responsibility? Thanks, and go Bombers.
It's a really good
Thanks,
question.
Jackie. Yeah, great question.
That is a really good question,
Really good
because you
question.
guys are often talking about how you end up at different gyms and...
Yeah, so essentially we've got a question about our exit meetings later on, which we'll touch on, but essentially you speak with your coaches, high performance team, and your sport S&C team as well. So your weights coach, for example, and they'll set like a pretty generic sort of plan. If you're fit and healthy and you're fine. Obviously, if guys have got niggles and need a rest, they'll be on a modified program. But yeah, essentially they'll give you like a bit of a basic sort of program. And some guys go into
generic, but still like every day something like structured.
Yeah,
very structured
in terms of
weights on a Monday,
spot.
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, running Monday, Friday, Wednesday, light jog Saturday. It's all very like
generic, as in like the whole group would have a fairly similar look if you're not injured or managing something. And then it's up to the individual whether you go into the club to do it. If you see, got a gym, access to a gym off site. I know we both like going off site. It just mentally freshens you up a bit, and you're in a different environment. You're around different people. I get a kick out of that. So yeah, you get given a program from the club, but depending on where you go, you can sort of tailor it to what you need. But yeah, there's a program set to sort of follow. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's usually, so you have the first 2 weeks, so we're in that little phase now. So a couple of weeks of just regeneration, just rest, like letting your body, obviously being a big year, letting your body just relax a bit. And then after 2 weeks, you kind of get back into your off-season program, start running, doing weights, doing everything. So yeah, you don't want to, especially after like a week or so of not doing anything, you're like, as a highly motivated professional athlete, like you feel pretty ordinary after doing a week of nothing, so you're pretty keen to get back into it straight away. So but there's definitely a really detailed program to follow, and it's very highly planned, and then leans back into your return to date at the club and like the different cycles of training and stuff leading to that. So yeah, there's a lot of work that goes into it, but also there's some flexibility to do, if you want to do an afternoon session or a morning session, or if you want to swap your days around your travel or something, like there's some room to be flexible as well.
Yeah, nice.
Yep.
Twinners.
And losers.
And losers.
Just twinners.
Ben and Harry's
I'm so excited for this.
winners
Birds often think I'm a tree.
and losers.
Mandarins. I just love them. Mandarins at the moment.
Well,
Nice.
I feel like we might have the same twinner.
Is it us? Is it the...
No, well, that
Is
can
it
be
the
one,
AFMA?
yeah. No, but we've both just been to Noosa for over the weekend, so that was my twin. I've been able to,
How good's Noosa?
I've just been able to get up in the sun and have a bit of a holiday. So
Yeah, mine was a little bit different, but I was going to acknowledge that. My twinner, so former.
you just fully take over here. No, it's good.
This is good. This is a really good twinner.
Yeah.
So my former teammate Dyson Hepburn.
Oh, this is a good one. Yeah.
He and his partner Kate have launched a clothing apparel called Haych, Haych.
Oh yeah,
And I'm wearing a bit of their stuff at the moment. So the backstory is Hep started working and getting to know a little guy called Harrison who's got scleroderma, which is a thing that like affects your skin, and it's not a very nice thing to have, and you're stuck with it forever. And
Harrison's the guy that Hep's been mates with for years.
yeah, for
hasn't he?
years.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Heb's grandma had scleroderma, and he got involved sort of through that, and they've built a nice little relationship ever since, and they're really close. And so essentially, they're raising profits through the clothing line to generate money for Harrison to tick off some bucket list items.
Yeah.
So they did a drive in a Lamborghini. They're trying to meet some NBA players, go overseas.
How
like it's
cool.
so cool. So all the funds are going to trying to get that bucket list sort of done for young Harrison. So it's a really beautiful story. Like Harrison's come into the club multiple times. They're big Essendon supporters, and Hep's done an incredible job alongside Kate, his partner.
And H, I think that's everyone calls him H, right?
Yeah, H. Yep. So
Given
it's a
the
play
name.
on words.
Yeah, and
HOYCH.
he draws all the graphics for
Correct.
Yeah,
That's
That's
so
awesome.
young H is into his artwork and all that sort of stuff. So he draws all the little designs, and so for example on the T-shirt, it's a little smiley face that H drew.
Yeah.
This one as well, a little design that he made. So
It's awesome.
it's one of the more touching things I've sort of
it's a
been
beautiful
involved in,
thing.
and full credit to Dyson and Kate for doing such an amazing job, and the whole community sort of getting around it. So
I think it's called Haych the Label on Instagram.
correct.
So you can go and check out that stuff.
Yeah,
Buy some product.
we'll put the
link,
product link in the show notes potentially, and get around it. So yeah, it's a beautiful thing, and they're doing amazing stuff. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
a great
nice.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Better
Well-
than How Good's Noosa.
Oh, didn't realise it was.
You should have let him go first.
Well, now we finished on a nice note like that.
No, that's
Unless you've
true,
got
actually, no.
what are you going to say? Well, here?
How Good's the Lion.
Sydney's nice. Sipping lattes before watching
Yes.
footy.
Sydney's
My
awesome.
loser is Queensland related. I think we
Yeah.
again both may have this one. The cafe culture up in Queensland
Whoa.
is a
hey.
big RFI.
Whoa. Really?
Yes, compared to Melbourne, I feel like there's some big improvements that can be made.
Talking Noosa
You're
specifically.
just talking Noosa.
Yeah.
Beachside towns, they're tough.
What did I
too.
say? I just Queensland.
I said Queensland in general.
Noosa especially. I feel
Yeah.
like there's some ways to go in the overall vibe of the place. I think can be
Yeah.
improved.
It's pretty pricey up there. You're paying a bit to get a
Yeah, no.
latte
No,
and,
yeah,
and a
but-
toasty.
Which Ben, we know
It's a
historically.
huge issue for Ben.
Yeah, it's a big
Yeah, huge.
1.4 and geez.
Oh, don't go down that path.
You try and get a discount on the Haych shirt.
No, I didn't.
I'm joking. You would.
Would have asked for 30%.
I'll wear it on the pod.
I'll give you a shout out, mate, on the pod. Just free jersey.
That's such a cheap
come on,
shot.
mate.
I'm sorry, mate. No, I agree. Noosa can lift.
Yeah, it's obviously a lovely area, but I think to get even better.
Yeah.
But I think we underestimate Melbourne is like world renowned for coffee.
Oh,
and cafe and
you got to
stuff,
remember
which we
that.
kind of take for granted.
Yeah. And you know what I think is a huge factor is the quality of water in Melbourne. And I think that improves the taste of coffee here. Because did you taste the tap water up in Noosa, Queensland? It's
Maybe a little bit different.
it's average.
You reckon that affects the coffee?
For sure. Has to.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
The coffee was fine. Like I'm not saying it was the coffee or the food quality. It was more just the overall vibe and the.
Vibe.
It's not just like there wasn't many in Noosa, like a really nice, like vibey cafe like there's in Melbourne.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's all right.
Spot on.
My only loser is just like, I think we've said it a few times, but have you ever been on a flight that leaves on time?
Yeah, right.
I'd love to know. Like,
That's a good
always late.
I did on the weekend.
There you go.
Honestly,
That's
and
a
I
Good on you, mate.
I
That's it.
thought
You could have just said no.
this is the first time this has happened to me in a very long time.
Yeah.
And it was from Avalon.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe
Maybe
we're
that
going
was
to
the
the wrong
difference.
place, yeah.
We landed
Actually-
15 minutes early.
Love that.
I'd never
Just
heard
doesn't
of
happen.
it. Yeah.
Actually, I noticed something on our flight home. For the first time for a long time, I had a spare seat next to me in exit row.
how good.
It was so good. It made
Yeah.
all the difference. I don't reckon I've had a spare seat next to me in a long time. So,
Taylor wasn't sitting next to you.
nah, she was in front. Yeah. Just 'cause I needed.
Not an exit row.
Nah, she didn't really bother. She didn't really want it. So I was like, all right. So, yeah.
What's happened there?
Oh, okay.
Doesn't like leg room.
Doesn't want any extra space. Less space, the better, please.
Prefers on the
Basically.
knees touching this.
Oh, she's only small.
Oh, that's
Anyway.
funny. And then exit meetings was something that we were going to talk about because
It's a good question.
we saved this one from last week, actually. It was Rich had this question.
G'day, Ben, Rolo, MJ, and all other listener staff. It's Rich from Richmond. Question for you, Ben. Can you take us inside a exit interview meeting? Do you walk in, the coach butters you up, and then hits you between the eyes, or is it all business? Walk in, tells you what you're doing wrong, and we'll see you in November. Cheers, guys.
Rich
So
from
Is that an
Richmond.
alias as well? Rich from Richmond?
This is just for Ben, by the way.
Yeah, I'm not
Didn't
answering
even
anything.
acknowledge you.
Right, Richo?
That's a good question. So I think you tend to forget that you're walking into a discussion about your whole year. So obviously Harry would have been the same. You go from dissecting every game to the nth degree, and then all of a sudden you go to basically a discussion from your pre-season to your main season to what your off-season looks like. So you go in there very prepared, like you have some notes written down, or I did anyway, and you're sort of over-prepared because basically it's just a general summation of a year. And Brad had a little chat, and then the high-performance guy chats, and then your line coach chats for a little bit with a couple of positives and an RFI, and then you're sort of out of there within 10 minutes. So obviously some guys might be different, but it was generally pretty positive. But you go from breaking down games, really detailed orientated, to like a general summation of a year. So you as athletes, you go, we are very detailed orientated. So you sort of get out of that phase pretty quickly. And I certainly over prepared. They were pretty general, but you got to get through 45 guys plus other things. So you sort of got to remember that it's not just about you. You've got to be pretty general, I suppose, if that makes sense.
Are you like at the start of the year? Are you goal setting? Are you trying to meet targets and things like that? Is that part of your?
A little bit,
Yeah.
yeah, I think so. I mean, I remember having a conversation with Ben Jacobs around our backs coach around a couple of things you want to get out of the year, and it was pretty general in terms of like just getting to know everyone and fitting in and really gelling with the guys down back, and it was pretty general in terms of our conversation first and foremost. But I think so. I think it's healthy to check in on those sort of things midway through the year and at the end of the year as well. So guys will have very specific ones, but from a coaching point of view, moving clubs, it was very much around just sort of fitting in and gelling with the group. So mine was pretty general, but other guys may have been a little bit more pointed or whatever, depending on your situation. So you can add
You just
anything if you want.
Well, Rich didn't even.
Rich
That
doesn't.
was purely to Ben.
Rich
so,
doesn't like it.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Nice. Oh, we'll get into the questions. It's been a long ep, so we may as well rip through
Sorry,
these.
mate.
I know, it's good.
Somewhere to be there, man. Sorry.
Talking trophies. Joel.
How you going, boys? Joel from Carisbrook. Ben, I think you should give your number 32 speech at the Media Awards. I can go down a tree. Anyway, question. If you got the recruiters, what would be the number one attribute that you'd looking for a new recruit? So would it be, body, as in tall, stocky, height, all that kind of stuff? Would it be fitness? If they're a fast runner, long runner, or would it be skills? What would be the number one thing you would focus on picking a new player? Anyway, congratulations on a good year, and hopefully both of you can come back next year better. Anyway, go boys.
Longest question of all time.
Joel's
First
usually
of
pretty
all,
punchy, but
yeah. First of all, you wouldn't have had time to do the 32 speech with this.
No.
wasn't a 4-minute
40-second
clock run
countdown.
ago.
That's right. But I like Joel's question. Do you? I mean, if I were to rephrase it, do you think you would prefer to have a teammate that is a footy player first and then train them to be an athlete, or an athlete that you train to be a footy player? If you know what I mean.
I personally think that the mentality, who you are as a person, trumps everything, I reckon,
Yeah, I was about
because
to say that as well.
Right.
that's the most important thing. You can always coach skill, but if you've got the intent and the want to be a really good player and a good teammate and get the most out of yourself and respect for the program and wanting the best for the club, all the other stuff can be taken care of in other ways, I think. So that for me is the number one thing.
Yeah, I completely agree. I reckon you obviously need to have a plan on what type of player you want to get or what the game style you want to play.
Yeah.
And who fits in those parameters. But yeah, to Ben's point, I think anyone that can help culturally, is a really good person, values the right things, teammate driven, puts the club first. I reckon, if you have someone who's that way inclined but 5% less talented than someone else that's not like that, you're always going to go with the person who has those values and is a really good club person, I reckon.
And how do you find those values? That's a hard part of it.
I guess that's where it can be tricky. But I'm sure, the recruiting team and the list management team would do a lot of their due diligence around what type of people they are. Ask the right questions, and it's not hard to find, I reckon. So in terms of what people like. So but that's definitely something that you look for if I was in that role. But
it's interesting. I like that. Terry from Blue Abroad.
Gents, it's Terry from Blue Abroad. I'm a late comer to the podcast, but I am now a weekly listener. My question is for Harry. The last few off seasons, you've had a specific focus. You've had your speed with the speed project. Last year, I think you mentioned your goal kicking routine was a really big focus for you. What are you going to be focusing on this off season?
Thanks, Terry. Great question.
Jeez, very knowledgeable.
Yeah,
Terry's
correct.
kept an eye on your off seasons.
That's right. Well, to lean into what Ben said before, usually when you do your exit reviews, you kind of you get the things you've done well, the things you need to work on. There's like a body element of it in terms of you might want to focus on this stuff. We've got like a new high performance manager who's going to come in, so I reckon the focus of the whole group might be slightly different to what it's been in the past. So basically, once you've done your exit, which mine was last Friday, probably have about a week or so of like piecing together what you want your off season to look like and those type of things. But yeah, for me, I think I said in an interview with the club, but when you're kind of 8, 9, 10 years in, there's always little things you're looking to improve on. But the consistency of being able to get your body in a really good spot and be really resilient over this period. And everyone's always going to say you want to be faster, stronger, leaner, fitter, whatever. But I think being able to be really consistent and durable in this stage, and then that leads into a really good pre-season, which leads into a good, post-Christmas. So, but yeah, still some things. Definitely still keep going after goal kicking and try and find some new things there and keep chasing that. There's always little elements of your body that you want to improve on or fix or whatever it is, and then there's little craft things, but that's probably what this last week or two looks like, just piecing together exactly what you want your off season to look like and then how you're going to do it. So it's always a really good time. I think players that utilise this period of time to obviously you need to have your break and rest and stuff, but use this time to get better is important as well. So great question there, Terry. Yeah.
Any craft that you're keeping an eye on this off season? Is there anything?
We've spoken about it before, but it's probably more of a thing that you really get to work on when you're back at the club and you've got the other guys. From a pure craft point of view, to Harry's point, it's more some of the other stuff you want to get to work on. And being 10 years in, you're right. You're not changing everything. You're not like needing to put on 10 kilos of muscle or anything like that.
Yeah.
Like it's just little aspects of your overall game and body that you can chip away. And so I'm probably in the similar boat. A few little things that to get to work on. But you don't want to be really reinventing the wheel if you don't need to. So
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Nice. And finally from Aiden.
G'day boys, it's Aiden, straight from the factory here, and I'm just wondering, I was lucky enough to win some Pride of Medal tickets from their mate. Just wondering what to go with bringing someone to get signed, or not sure if it's frowned upon to bring someone to get signed, or I was thinking a jersey might be too big, so thinking a hat or something like that. Any suggestions from you boys would be greatly appreciated, and can't wait to see you there, Ben.
What's he got tickets for?
the Crichton Medal. Our best
Oh,
and fairest.
B&F night, right?
Yeah,
okay. Do people bring jumpers to get signed at B&F night?
I'm pretty sure we. It was like a designated signing session before it, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Where fans can go up and...
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Right. Well, I actually don't know how it works at Essendon, at North.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's fans in the room that might come up every now and then for a photo or whatever, but not typically getting things signed. So
and
it might be similar to Carlton where there's a little spot.
Yeah.
You might have to reach out to the club on that one.
I'm imagining you've got big, like, circular tables and players are all sitting on the same table.
Yeah.
And do fans just come and tap you on the shoulder? And that's pretty brave. I'd be...
Yeah, so again, I can only speak to my time at North, but yeah, you've got like a player table. There might be, say, I don't know, 5, 6 player tables, a staff table, etc. And yeah, that you just mixed with fans. So next year might be a table of fans that come in the break and get a photo or whatever. So
that's all right.
Yeah, they're normally pretty harmless, but it could be different at Essendon. There might be that players section only. I don't know.
Yeah,
Not
fenced off.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, what is it like at Carlton?
Yeah, it's pretty similar to that. So yeah, you have your tables, and it's a GA event, so people can buy tickets.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyone can go. So yeah, it's always a bit of an interesting dynamic. It's like you're there with everyone from the club, but then also like it's like a fan event as well. So they're always good nights. I always enjoy them. Yeah, it's always they're always well put on, and usually a crown and stuff. So but no, usually people during the breaks and stuff will come up and ask for a photo or whatnot. So it's all pretty harmless. Yeah,
Aiden, I reckon take your jumper. Go straight to Ben.
We'll know who he is.
Yeah. He'll help you out.
Just announce yourself as Aiden from the factory.
Yeah, Aiden from the factory.
Ben will know.
and then Ben can just pass it around.
Yeah. We can work something out, mate. Don't worry.
Done. We'll be back next week. Grand final week next week. That is so surreal. That is just completely snuck up.
Yeah. Well, hopefully for your sake, mate. Are you going? God. You go to the game, I'm sure.
I'm going. I got my 10 tickets while I was flying back from
10 tickets.
Yeah.
How do you get all these tickets?
Yeah, just through a barcode. Just a
through your membership.
Barcode. Yeah.
AFL membership or
club.
Yeah.
And then and that's on my birthday. And then I've got the ballot sorted for next week. Should we make it? So
you're all over it.
It's a big couple of weeks.
Did you go last year to the granny?
I did, yeah.
So you got,
and I had my shoulder surgery at the time. I was in my sling. It was like 33 degrees. That was an awful day.
Yep. Yeah, bloody hell.
Insta and TikTok.
We are on Insta and TikTok.
You can't just start it and
do.
Add Ben and Harry.
If you go for it, you just finish it.
I agree. We are at Ben and Harry Podcast on TikTok and Instagram.
Because if you start it,
follow.
I started it.
Yeah, I agree.
And then just look over and it sounds real like forced.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yep. Send us a DM. Give us a review on Apple. We love the reviews, by the way. Please punch those.
Also, just to double down, thanks to everyone who's got around the show.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Winning this pretty cool award wouldn't be possible without everyone's help. So well done.
Absolutely. This is good luck.
Ding. That'll do, I reckon.
Well done.
Good show. Well done. Thank you.